Ever since the New York/New Jersey Metro Stars were taken over by the New York Red Bull Corporation in 2006, the Red Bulls were promised instant success. According to Lexi Lowers, they were quote-unquote the next MLS super team, or the first MLS super team. They were destined to win MLS Cup after MLS Cup after MLS Cup. And just look at all the other RB teams. Look at RB Leipzig's success, going from like the 5th tier of German football all the way up to the Bundesliga, getting into the semifinals of the Champions League. And look at RB Salzburg, like winning Austrian Cup after Austrian Cup after Austrian Cup. But over the 16 years, the Red Bulls have not won any MLS Cup since the takeover of the Red Bulls. So what went wrong? Or maybe it's not as bad as we all think. The 2013 season was probably a very exciting year for most Red Bull fans. Players like Tim Cahill, Fabian Espindola, Jamie Nolay, Bradley Wright Phillips, and oh yeah, not to mention, Thierry Henry. A 1-0 win against FC Dallas and Sporting Kansas City, losing to the Philadelphia Union, crowned the New York Red Bulls winner of the MLS Supporters Shield. And in case anybody that does not watch MLS, the Supporters Shield is the winner of who got the most points inside the MLS calendar season. For example, after the MLS calendar season, it goes into a playoff, so the New York Red Bulls were crowned the MLS Supporters Shield on the last day of the season, and the boys in red were faced against the Houston Dynamo, who suffered some shaky form in the last few games of the season, while on the flip side, the Red Bulls were undefeated in their last 5 games. Going into the game, the New York Red Bulls were big favorites, and around the 20th minute mark, Bradley Wright Phillips capitalized off a goalkeeper error and put it in the back of the net. 1-0 Red Bulls. Tragedy struck. Around the 30th minute, Dynamo striker Davis capitalized off a defender mistake and sticks it in the back of the net. 1-1. Into the first half of overtime, Dynamo came marching down the field and snuck it into the back of the net off a poorly defended corner. And I watched the highlights of these games. The Red Bulls dominated the whole game. We're very unlucky not to get a result from this game. Like most teams, I've realized in the MLS, a lot of the times the first seed gets knocked out of tournaments, out of these MLS playoffs. Look at Seattle, look at the Union. A lot of Supporters Shield winners get knocked out of the MLS playoffs for some reason. The Red Bulls, however, did make a little MLS run all the way to the semifinals in 2018, but unfortunately they got knocked out to Atlanta United 3-1 on aggregate. Now let's go back to the original question we asked ourselves in the beginning of this video. Why have they not lived up to their other Red Bull counterparts? Well, there's 3 big reasons why. 1, the MLS is always consistently getting better. If you look at the MLS from 25 years ago, in the 90s to now, the MLS is changing, it's growing, it's getting better. Reason number 2 is because in the MLS, players leave to Europe more often. That's just the reality of it. Europe has a higher skill than the MLS, and that's just the reality of it. And there's less consistency in the MLS. If you look at who won the Premier League in the last 10 years, and if you look at who won the MLS in the last 10 years, there's way more different teams that won the MLS in the last 10 years than the Premier League in the last 10 years. And should the Red Bulls be disappointed in the fact that their football team in New York is not doing well? Well, the short answer is no. They have a football team, the biggest sport in the world, and the biggest marketing capital of the world being New York. That's not a failure. That's a success in itself.